Make yourself comfortable.
Feel pretty good.
All right.
First off, I want to say thank you because my life has shot off like a rocket since I started following your guidance.
Well, you'd already done all the rocket shooting before, but you just chilled and let some of them start flowing. Yeah.
My question is about elation versus appreciation and even versus depression. It feels like one of the teachers in The Secret actually kind of led me onto this, that when I get the feeling of elation, there's almost a force of someone or something almost trying to bring me back down. And it feels, when I get completely puffed up and proud of myself, is there something within me or outside trying to pull me back down to equilibrium? And so when I feel elation, I feel that way. But when I feel appreciation, there's more of a balance. And that's when I feel like I'm in more of my vortex.
Words don't matter very much. A lot of people use similar words and mean very different things from them. And so it's what you mean when you offer any word that really matters most. But first, we want to say that there is no outside force bringing you down, and that the only thing that is happening in terms of something that you would even describe as being outside of you is that your inner being is standing, that's not the right terminology, existing in such a place of pure positive energy that the sensation to you would be one of being called upward. But all of your emotions are results of the relationship between the vibrations that are going on within you. So it doesn't matter if someone else has done something or said something that has caused you to give it your attention. It's your attention to it that is the operative factor. So when you feel elation or appreciation, and we would call them equal, elation even sometimes has more momentum than appreciation, but those high-flying feelings always mean that you and your inner being are simultaneously focused in a way that you are introducing no resistance to the equation. Your inner being will never introduce resistance to the equation. Your inner being only holds steady the vibrational frequency to the furthest point of asking that you have discovered. So when life causes you to ask, your inner being holds that set point so that you can feel your relationship to it. So when you give your attention to something that is the absence of what you want, you introduce resistance, and that's what produces that feeling of coming down. Humans have an expression, just waiting for the other shoe to drop. In other words, things are going along pretty well, and then they expect something to neutralize it or to call it down. But it doesn't need to be that way. It's all about the thoughts that you personally are thinking. We talk a lot about the emotional scale. Sometimes we do the scale this way, sometimes we do the scale this way. So here's your inner being in this pure positive energy place. Let's have this new conversation. Do you accept that you are an extension of source energy?
Yes.
And do you accept that your inner being is not just loosely or softly aware of you, that your inner being is intensely aware of you?
Yes.
Do you understand that your inner being is focused in this powerful now with you about whatever it is that you are focused upon?
Yes.
No matter what it is, your inner being is focused with you about what you are consciously focused upon. And do you understand that your inner being has a very practiced, long-standing, pure positive energy, opinion, or perspective of whatever it is? So let's say that you have been working on some business project and you've been launching lots of rockets of desire, and you feel good a lot of the time, sometimes not so good, but mostly you feel good. But you've launched one great big enterprise, a big vibrational enterprise, and your inner being holds a very powerful thought about that and feels wonderful whenever your inner being focuses upon it. But this conversation isn't about what your inner being is focused upon other than what you're focused on. This conversation is about what your inner being is focused upon while you're focused upon something, because that's how your guidance system works. You are not the only thing that your inner being focuses upon, but when you're actively focused, your inner being is focused with you here and now. Did you hear that? You are not the only thing that your inner being is focused upon, but when you are focused upon something, your inner being is focused with you here and now and has a high flying perspective about it. So when you are without resistance, so that you've joined your inner being in this high flying vibration, then you feel elation. And the elation is a combination of, it's because of your relationship with your inner being. But you know what elation is? Oh, do you know what elation is? Do you know what elation is? Elation is you feeling right now just like your inner being feels. It's you channeling your inner being. It's you feeling what your inner being feels. It's you joining your inner being, sometimes for the first time, in this powerful thought of desire. What you're talking about here is you sometimes can't maintain that thought because you have other beliefs and opinions that don't let you maintain that thought. Your ability to love, hear this, your ability to love and your ability to hate are equally balanced, because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And when you know what you do want, you know what you don't want. They are equally balanced. But your inner being never joins the hate end of the equation, only always in the love end of the equation. So there is not some force outside of you. But when you walk into a room, you don't look for a dark switch. There's no switch that when you flip it, it makes darkness in the room. There's a switch that will resist the light. In fact, they call them resistors. It resists the electricity. It dims the lights. Helpful?
It is. So I've been also in a time in my life where it seems like everything's falling apart, and then I get that phone call or something happens that is almost there to bring me back up.
But why use those dramatic words? Everything's falling apart. Really?
Well, yeah, I guess
the sun
not really.
didn't come up? Big wobble in the planet? Things are flinging off into space? Things that used to stand up just keep falling over? Really? All that drama? Or did you just take a step away from the well-being that your inner being knows about your life? And because your inner being knows so much about your well-being, when you take a step away from it, you feel the proportion of the other. How about that? Your life didn't change, but your perspective did. And if your perspective changes enough, then your life experience begins to mimic it. But your life will follow so quickly the trend of your thoughts. You see, what we're wanting you to hear us say, we don't want you to be an observer of how things are, and therefore a vibrational reactor to how things are, and then a vibrational emitter of how things are, and therefore a vibrational attractor of how things are. Although you can't help that because law of attraction. We want you to be someone who's aware of how things are, but an asker for an improvement, and then wanting enough to feel good that you are willing to look in the direction of what does feel good until you develop those patterns so that you can more often join your inner being and then more often feel the elation or the appreciation rather than the discouragement or the depression.
Gotcha.
Negative emotion is such a good thing, because the first thing negative emotion tells you is you're alive. The first thing negative emotion tells you is that you have one powerful desire that you are right now in vibrational opposition to. The next thing that negative emotion tells you is that you have a powerful desire that you are on the other end of the way your inner being is looking at it. We're sort of really back to basics here, but this is a really good time to get back to basics, isn't it? Because if you are someone who needs conditions to be a certain way in order for you to feel good, then you're going to have a harder time. But if you understand that your feeling good isn't about conditions, it's about being in alignment with the source within you, who is focused not upon what is, but upon what is desired, which has been born out of what is. Oh, if you could just get that, if you could just get that peace, no matter what's happening in your life, it feels like it's falling apart. The upheaval causes you to ask in a stronger way. Your inner being stands with the new request. Law of attraction gathers the cooperative components. So the new and improved is already underway. In fact, it is done in vibrational form. But if you're just so busy observing and almost defending, sometimes wanting so much to be right about how wrong this is, that you hold yourself apart from what you ask for as a result of it. So you miss the benefit of the process that you were born to experience.